get buckets.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are talking about the trade of Paul George to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yes, that news just broke. Maria Shelburne, I think that's her name, just tweeted that Paul George is being traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. So they will both be heading to the Pacers. Now, what does this mean for the league? What does this mean for the Pacers? What does this mean for the Warriors? What does this mean for Westbrook? Stay tuned to find out. Let's get into it. All right, first of all, I want to talk about the trade itself. Paul George is being sent to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and when you look at the players that they got back in exchange for him, it is by no means a close comparison. If you realize it, just a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, Domantas Sabonis and Victor Oladipo were traded for Serge Ibaka. Are Serge and Paul George equatable on something? First of all, Serge Ibaka, no one knows how old he really is. He's definitely on the decline. And Paul George is like 28 years old or something like that. I should probably check my facts. But he's a lot younger and he's a lot better. So what does all this mean for the Oklahoma City Thunder? What does this mean for their chances in the West? Let me kick it over to Statboy. Statboy will give you some stats about what this means for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Well, I'll tell you what this means. Paul George is a great fit for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a perfect spot-up shooter. He's a great off-the-ball player, and he's a great defender. He will mesh just perfectly with Russell Westbrook. All right, Statboy, you're full of shit. You just read Zach Lowe's tweet. Never kicking it back to Statboy. If you want stats on this channel, you came to the wrong place. My opinion, how is Paul George going to affect the Oklahoma City Thunder? He's going to make them better. He's going to make them a team in the West that can make the playoffs. But unless they get someone better than Kevin Durant, they don't stand a chance. And what I noticed a lot of people are talking about is just how weak this makes the East. It's a cakewalk for LeBron James. Like, who are the top players in the East right now? LeBron James, Paul Wall, and Giannis Antetokounmpo are like the only three stars. Like, I know there's a lot more good players. Toronto's got some players, but really, all these players are moving to the West. Jimmy Butler, Paul George. Well, Chris Paul was in the West, but look how stacked the West is. It deflates the game. It's like, what's the point of watching the finals when you'd rather watch the Western Conference Finals, which are going to be a better competition? So what does this mean for the Oklahoma City Thunder? They're going to be in the same spot. They're going to win a few more games. Russ is still going to be a massive ball hog, and he's probably still going to get a lot of points. What does this mean for the Pacers? Well, they get Victor Oladipo, who is a world-renowned trash receptacle, and they get a guy named Domantas Sabonis, which I've never seen the guy, but he sounds white, and therefore I don't think they really got much out of that trade. Okay, so if you didn't notice, another trade just happened. Ricky Rubio has been traded. Who did they trade him to? Ricky Rubio, the Jazz. All right, so if you didn't know, Ricky Rubio just got traded to the Jazz, which that means that the Wolves are needing a point guard, and it's rumored that Jeff Teague may be a point guard that goes to the Wolves. So they will not have Jeff Teague anymore. Instead, they will have Sabonis and Oladipo, and they won't have Paul George anymore. They're in full tank mode. Miles Turner, what do you have to say about this? That's what you get for sleeping, Miles Turner. You miss out on the big news. I wasn't asleep. That's why this news is fresh. That's why I got the freshest news around. But anyway, the Pacers are in the cellar. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're probably not even going to make the D-League. They have a dungeon squad of scrubs. And listen, I love Victor Oladipo. I thought last year on my fantasy team he was going to be a beast, but he is just not good. I think he'll be a lot better without Westbrook hogging up all the usage. I think Victor Oladipo has a bounce back year, but if you ever draft Oladipo before like the 8th round in fantasy, you're a moron. Do what I say, not as I do. All right, so let's kick it to Joel Embiid. What do you think about this Joel Embiid? Woo! That's right, the East is getting weak AF, and what do you know, the Sixers, with a team full of unproven players, full of injuries, and a bunch of unknowns, just may make the playoffs. This is the NBA East Coast, and the West is a juggernaut, bloodbath. It's an arena battle. This is the product that you've come to love. in the NBA. Thanks, Adam Silver. Thank you so much for all you've done for the NBA. LeBron James, welcome to your 8th NBA Finals. This has been a news update from Brodo NBA. All right, so we're going to do some rapid fire news because the Paul George stuff is the main stuff. That is what we call the entree, and I like to give the appetizers after the entree because that's what pulls in the watch time, even though my watch time is like, total watch time is like 5 minutes. So for you who have watched the 5 minutes of my videos, I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Quickie updates, let's go. Okay, so as I mentioned, the Wolves are trading Ricky Rubio to the Jazz. So that means, are they trying to appease Gordon Hayward? Because right now, Gordon Hayward is the only free agent that the Celtics can probably land now that Blake Griffin has decided to sign an extension, or at least the wheels are in motion. He's decided to sign an extension. Let's see how much that was. $173 million. So does Blake want to be the number one guy on a tanking team? And does Blake want to be the only player on a trash team so he can fill his pockets and buy a jacuzzi? Find out next time when I interview him live on the show. But really, Blake, what are you doing? Like, do you have no desire to be a winner? You're staying on the Clippers. You and DeAndre, like the Twin Towers, you realize that doesn't work in this day and age. It's all about the three ball, and neither of you guys can shoot the three that well. So why would you re-sign? Yeah, it's all about the money. He's not going to the Celtics. It was speculated. Well, guess what? That's not happening. So right now, the only people the Celtics can get are Gordon Hayward, essentially the only superstar-ish, mute that part. The only star that they have left is Gordon Hayward, and I don't know if they get him or not. It's still up in the air. What is Danny Ainge going to do? A lot of people are nutshotting Danny Ainge for storing draft picks, for keeping too much. They're calling him a hoarder of assets. He was the number one seed in the East last year, and he's got a ton of assets. But do I blame a guy for not wanting to get rid of his assets when he knows he has no chance to beat the Warriors? No, I don't blame him. Listen, I think the Celtics should blow it up, start again fresh. Jaylen Brown, the number 3 guy they just drafted, start with those guys, get rid of everybody else. Paul George is a no-show. Gordon Hayward, send him to the Cavs. I don't care. Just don't send him to the Celtics. And in hilarious news, the Bulls have waived Rajon Rondo and Isaiah Cannon. They were going to see if someone wanted to trade for Rajon Rondo, and when they floated that out there to other GMs, they got a big hell no. Nobody wants Rajon Rondo. The dude is a locker room cancer. He is also a basketball scrub. Playoff Rondo, if only that was real Rondo, then we'd all be blessed on this blessed day. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. Hopefully I can get this out fresh, quick for you, because as they say, the early bird gets the worm, or as they like to say in the NBA, Larry Bird gets the worm. And didn't they call Chris Anderson the worm? So what was that, Dennis Rodman? The early Larry Bird gets the Dennis Rodman. This is all NBA lingo for those casual fans out there, which are, of course, my target demographic. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the next news update. See you again next time. Peace. Are we done? That's a wrap. Stat boy, you're fired.
Know some young niggas like to swag. Know some young swag. Take a little back, yep. Now the game's in no track.